Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good night. My name is Jaime Ramos, and I'm your host today for the Cantina MX Podcast. Today, we have a lot of juicy stories, a lot of stories that have developed, and today we have a pretty good panel. I'm going to start off with Alberto Campo. How are we doing today over there?
Hey, what's up, Jaime? Yeah, good to be here for another show. Talk some stuff, talk some entertaining Chucky Lozano news and whatever else we got on the agenda.
Awesome, awesome. And over here, my compadre, Joel. How are we doing?
Greetings. Doing fine. Um, Excited that football is slowly coming back, and with the football, the chismes and the desmadre and whatnot.
Yes, sir. Football may be back, but a lot of Mexican players wouldn't know. At least Mexican players abroad, because they've been on the bench. And this is pretty fresh news, but Chucky Lozano having some drama out there in Napoli, having a fallout with Gatusso. What's going on?
I heard it was over the training, so I don't think he even got to start training. I think he was just walking to the pitch. He must have had stink face or something, huh? Gatuso called him out.
Was it
It's
okay? So
been
that so my I haven't looked all into this, but the the claims are that he didn't bring the energy, he didn't bring las ganas. He was slacking. The mentality wasn't there or something. So that just sort of that's a bad thing you want to see from any player.
yeah. For those that don't know, the Italian football returned, and Napoli had a elimination game to get into the domestic cup final versus Juventus, and Chucky was an unused sub in that game, and uh, we had some rumblings, something about how he was dismissed from training, and that he has a poor attitude, and he's seems like he's not a player in the locker room that's making a fan favorite of anybody. So it's just one of those things. When you get a coach that gets fired midway through the campaign and you have a new coach, all of a sudden you are on someone's shit list.
Yeah, that wasn't the coach that brought him in. Um, and so it seemed from the start. So I think for Gattuso's first game, Chucky went to the bench, right? Or
Yeah,
he
that's
didn't play him. But I know his minutes dropped drastically. And yeah, it's something we talked about with John about when you go to Europe or when you switch sides, switch clubs to go to a team that the coach wants you. And I think we left out a second part. I think we left out a second part, and that's make sure that the coach is going to be there, for the long haul, or at least long enough. Uh, if not, have some type of clause in your contract, because we saw it with Giovanni. I don't know if you guys remember when he wasn't getting playing time at Barcelona, and they're like, "Well, we'll loan you out," but this other coach that knew him had just landed in Tottenham, and is like, "Come over here, I'll make you, I'll give you the significant playing time." And guy was sacked. I think not even midway through the season, and then Gio got sent to you know, the Coca-Cola League, or whatever they call it, championship, or whatever they call their second division.
oh when he
Yeah.
went to Tottenham, and then he got loaned out to some team.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it
So
was.
that's part of it. Same with Cheech goes to West Ham. Coach Zewanen wasn't, gets leaves. He ends up with the coach that did not want him at Man U.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so
Moyes.
Yeah, so I do think it's important as a player to like, if you're gonna make that jump, you need to have some assurances and be like, you know, at least be guaranteed some type of playing time, if not a clause to make it easy for you to just be transferred out. Cause what did he go for? What did they buy him for? Like,
They
was
paid
it like 50?
50 million, yeah.
Yeah, no one's paying that for him anymore.
Well,
It's,
it's just like, all right, Ancelotti obviously was the coach that wanted him, desired him. He gets fired even though he got Napoli to the round of 16 in the Champions League. And it's like, even if you don't have the same coach that brought you in, it's not like it was his decision overall. Like, they have a front office, they have executives. Like, you're not going to spend 50 million on a Ferrari just to have in the driveway, right?
you'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised. Um, but yeah, it happens a lot. We it does happen a lot. If you start checking out cases, and you will see it with like the front office will give the coach so much confidence, and then things don't work out, and then they have all these players that don't know what to do with them, which is one of the things that happened recently with Tigres. So the president, and I forgot the guy's name, he just left, and that was one of the things where they felt he bought players that weren't even used, or they just, they felt they just lost money there on player transfers. And so they had Telinke, I think it's Rodriguez, came back and took over the team. But yeah, I do think it happens, you know, quite often. I don't know if you remember this way back with Nilsson. He was supposed to be the next,
To
like the
Betis, right?
next Ronaldo. Yes, and they paid record
They
fee at
paid
the
uh,
time.
they
That
paid a
was
lot of money, yeah.
at the time it was the highest transfer ever, and that dude ended up sucking pretty hard, man.
That's
So
okay. This one thing you're talking about one totally different thing than we are here though, and I haven't seen this is like almost I don't want to say unprecedented, but this is like something that you hardly ever hear of or I've never heard of recently from any coach or player. This isn't like Giovanni or Memo Ochoa who, they go to the coach doesn't like them. This is a coach saying, let me just read the words he says, dude. He says, anyone who is tired, who doesn't feel like it, who isn't sharp mentally, as far as I'm concerned, he can just stay in the locker room and miss a day of training. Everyone knows if they step onto the field with me, they have to go at full speed. I won't allow anyone to ruin a training session. So
Damn.
this is just like he's grilling into this dude, and this isn't a
yeah,
good look. Like
but
say for example, like Chucky was, he's got a transfer set. He's got something on the horizon in like a few weeks or whatever, and he's just like, okay, I'm out of here anyway. I'm just gonna burn some bridges. Why are you gonna burn a bridge? Why are you gonna slack off even if you're about to leave? And I'm just assuming, I'm just like guessing. This is who knows what he's gonna do. But this is like something you have never heard from
well, we
any
don't
type of
have
player.
Chucky's side of the story though.
Well,
You know,
We don't have any. We don't have
we
one
don't know what's
side.
going on,
I mean, we have the one
but
side though. We haven't had a one side
yeah,
like this in a long like from any player, right? Have you guys heard of
yeah.
a coach dis talk and lower a player to that type in public? That's like
The the only thing that, I mean, people don't even know that Chucky got his nickname because he used to love playing pranks on his teammates. That's why he got the name Chucky, because of the Chucky doll. He's turning into a real life Chucky doll right now. Like, it's like a nightmare situation.
yeah,
well,
but he
I think they probably had a falling off, and then Chucky just was like, had this bucket attitude, and then that probably pissed off Gatusso even more, because it does, in a way, that's one of the players that the team banked on and put some good money into, and to waste that, you start looking bad, to an extent already, because there will be pressure from the front office, because it's like, well, okay, we still have to sell them, So I think Gattuso, I don't know, making it
He's a
public
he's a hothead too.
might might be a mistake.
I
Just
mean,
because if you're trying to sell them, dude, you might want to keep that under wraps.
I
You know
remember
what I mean?
I
Yeah.
remember Gatusso as a player, and he was so aggressive and so, like
Yeah.
it's just like that's just his character. But I agree, it's not if you're trying to sell a car, you don't show off the Carfax, you don't say that it's got a transmission leak and shit. You want to be
Yeah,
you want to at least say things that will allow suitors to be like, okay, this isn't going to be a crazy like gamble if we try and buy this kid.
yeah, yeah. Especially if it's already been devalued. So I mean, yeah, it's highly unlikely that Chucky will go for the amount Napoli
Well,
paid.
no, because Mino Raiola is his agent, and he's obviously one of the best agents at getting his money back. I mean, he's the amount of players that he has under his
Yeah, but no. But see, that's not him getting his money back. He got his money. This is Napoli.
commission, So he's like,
But
yeah,
he got it. No, but he got it. This is now on Napoli. Napoli, because they have him on contract for however many years left, and so if he's not, Gattuso's the main, he's the boss now, and that's a player he can work with, then you need to sell him once the transfer window opens, which I'm expecting should be around the winter. And so you already lost a good 20 million on that.
So I'm on transfer
Maybe
market.
maybe 25, huh?
I'm on transfer market right now. He was valued at 44 million when he was at PSV, and then when he joined Napoli, he was obviously at his peak. Now he's down to around 38. So
Yeah,
he's
see?
it's about 10 million.
Yeah, and they're not gonna pay. The teams are not gonna. They're like they know because they already know. They're like they already know what the situation is, so they're gonna play off of that. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing that you don't want to, as a boss, to air out stuff like that because you don't want to give other teams like more bargaining chips. The teams know it's like, hey, you guys hate each other. If
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm trying to find like a similar player, that had this type of transition because I remember Memphis Depay. He was at PSV. He was their, one of the league's top goal scorers. Then he goes to Manchester United for a lot of money and has a complete meltdown. Like he doesn't stay focused. He cares more about his cars. He starts skipping training, this and that, and then he ends up getting sold to Lyon for about I want to say 10 million under what Manchester United paid for him, and he's been able to turn things around, and now he's actually valued at over 50-60 million. So I mean, I feel like Chucky Lozano, it was just one of those situations where it was just a bad investment on Napoli's part, and they're probably going to sell him. He's probably going to go to the Premier League where that style fits his, what he does will fit the Premier League a lot better than in because
I don't know, man. I haven't heard any team interested in him. So I mean, I think mi selección fanboys might start raging when he lands at Atlanta United or something.
there's no Ancelotti is at Everton, so that's actually one of the teams that's rumored.
Oh, okay. He might take him.
So Everton could be a possible suitor. I think his future's in the Premier League. I like that was my prediction from the beginning. I always thought he would end up in the Premier League just because of his style. He's very good at counterattacking. He's got the speed. He doesn't have the physicality, but I just feel like he would actually be a really good fit in the Premier League. At least the Italian league is so hard. It's the most people would say probably the best defensive league in the world.
Yeah.
And that shuts down Chucky. I think the Chucky style of play where he needs to get some space up front, and I think that's why a little bit of why he's getting.
If I remember,
shut down.
like the handful of goals he scored for Napoli, they've all been on counterattacks, which proves our point.
Yeah. He didn't get. So you said he didn't get playing time in his last game, and it was
It was a semifinal.
yeah, and
Yeah,
they had five cambios
subs.
available. Yeah, 5 subs. See what
Yeah,
I
they subbed in Callejon. They subbed in. I mean, they subbed in everybody but him. And it's like, and it was a do or die game against Inter, and you're not gonna at least try and get him some minutes. It's ridiculous, man. It's like the only good thing about this is that we're in June, so the transfer market will open up and literally within a month or less. So at least
Oh
he.
man, I'm talking about winter. You're right, summer transfer market. But do you think it'll open despite the
Yeah, it will.
all right, all right.
That's not going to stop players from leaving or transferring. So I mean that's the only saving grace in this is like at least he's not going to be rotting on the bench for much longer.
looking at some Twitter replies, and this is like a total assumption. I could be very much wrong on this, but we talked about Gatusso being like a hothead and not taking stuff. I wonder if being him, Chucky being Mexican, has anything to do with this. This is sort of like the whole.
What? Nah,
It's
man.
it's crazy, but okay,
That again, dude.
you
Come
can't
on.
set stuff aside, man. This is Italy, dude.
What?
This
So
you can't just disregard stuff. It's crazy and it's an outlandish conspiracy or whatever if you want to call it that, but you just can't like disregard stuff.
that doesn't make nah. That's just dumb. Come on.
You never know, dude.
It's
You never know.
it's gonna be talked about. I know, obviously,
Cause
but,
nah, they tried doing the
but
same thing.
I don't.
Remember with Marco Fabian, and cause the Croatian coach is the same. The dude they had Mexico faced at Brazil World Cup,
Oh,
and
yes.
then the dad, I
Coach.
think it was Fabian's dad, was like, yeah, it's cause he's Mexican, and it's like
Uh,
that's a dumb mentality for me.
it's
That's
the
the
victim
whole
mentality.
thing.
It was Niko Kovac. He was the coach for Frankfurt at the time, and he was also the coach for Croatia in 2014 when it was una paliza. You know what I mean? But no, that's all speculation and stuff. Um, as far as other players abroad, I put some notes in. So Lainez, he got a few minutes against Sevilla. They lost 2-0, and then Guardado was benched. But then they played again today. Guardado was a starter, which is great news. Nestor Araujo had the full 90 against Villarreal. Hector Herrera was subbed in for about 20 minutes versus Bilbao, and the only player that's actually doing really good right now is Tecatito Corona. He's started every game since they've returned to to football. He's got 2 goals in the last 3 games, so he's
Yeah,
he's
but he was supposed to like been out of Portugal a long time ago, man.
I mean, we always
2
want to
seasons tops, pa fuera.
here's the thing, man. Why break something that's why try to fix something that's not broken? I think like we do look at the Portuguese league as like a fisherman's league. They used to call it a long time ago, and they still do. And like, oh, he should go to this team. He should go to that team. I mean, look at Hector Herrera. He was the captain of Porto. Over here, he's panhandling for minutes at Athletic. It's like, what's better? Is it better to be a bench player on a bigger club or to be a guaranteed starter every game in a smaller?
No, I agree. I agree with you, but it also talks about like there hasn't been interest from top clubs. So what was expected of Tecatito, where you know people were thinking he was gonna be this world class player, and he's just so it's not a criticism. It sounds like one, but I mean he just kind of got stuck there, from
Yeah,
what the potential was or what was expected of him. You know, he had that one good game against I think it was Venezuela at the Copa America Centenario or something, and everyone was raving about him.
hmm yeah. I mean, in the unfortunately, like the last World Cup, he was pretty much a bench player, so we didn't really get to see Chucky and Tecate. For me, that would have been my ideal lineup, having both of them on the left and on the right. But as of right now, he's having a better season than Lozano. So I think, once the La Selección starts playing again, I think he should be a starter.
Yeah, but it's in Portugal, man. It's
Yeah, I mean, uh, they're still. I mean, Porto's still a respected club in the world. They're usually like a round of 16 or quarterfinalist at best, when it comes to like Champions League and stuff. Um, I mean, they won the Champions League with Mourinho back in 2004. But
He's in Portugal, but who else? Who else is in a better club than Portugal, than Porto? There ain't
what's
nobody.
that?
Like he's
Mexican abroad, you're saying?
yeah. Who's a better Mexican abroad than Porto right now, other than Raúl
Herrera
Jimenez?
with Atletico Madrid.
Is he playing there? See,
He's not playing.
there's very few, man. So
I mean, you could say Wolverhampton.
Tecatito playing in Porto and lighting stuff up. That's a guaranteed starting position for the Mexican
Yeah.
national team.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like I'd rather have
I don't.
I'd rather have him play every game, even if it's in Portugal, than
Yeah.
again go to a bigger club and get benched, because that's what happens to our players, unfortunately. And it's just like, man, I'd rather just them play every night, every day, every game. That's why they end up on MLS, because they don't,
I, no, I agree with that, but the whole just because he's doing good in Porto doesn't mean he's translates to Selección starting material.
I mean, right now he doesn't have much competition though. I mean, you look at Irving Lozano, he's not playing. Who else is competing for that spot? Alexis Vega,
yeah.
it's like
I think it does translate to starting on the national team.
yeah.
Like
I don't know,
you're
we'll have to
playing,
add-
and especially
That-
Tecatito
that-
with the talent he has. You're playing
Yeah.
good. If you're
Yeah,
a good
but then that's
Tecatito, you're gonna wipe.
discrediting anyone in Liga MX and saying like, yeah, because you're in Liga MX, it's I'm rating it lower than the Portuguese league. And we're talking about the coach Tata, who he rates the Mexican league high. So
Yeah.
he's not gonna, that's not gonna be his mentality. Oh, because you're Porto and you're balling, here's your, you're
But
automatic.
can you name anybody else that's like
That's
that you
gonna
would
that's gonna
that
be
you
his
can compete
mentality.
with
Yeah.
him? I
That's
can't really think of any winger right now in Liga MX or abroad that's doing a better job than Corona.
no one's playing that too. So,
Yeah.
but I don't agree, man. I think Tata and everyone in the Mexican Federation is gonna look at the fact that he's in Europe. You don't try to go to Europe just because it's not gonna boost your career in the national team. It's the fact that he's in Europe holds clout. It's gonna be in his
Hey,
favor.
didn't Cheech get benched at the World Cup for Oribe
Which
In
at
2014,
the I think it was the 14, huh?
did he already,
2014.
he must have told Tata that he was signing with LA Galaxy, and he immediately
He's-
he immediately said, "Hey, get your stuff back out." No, dude, you even look at like well, you can say like whenever the divas from the national team were almost missed the World Cup, and Piojo came in and brought in like an America base or a Liga MX base, just to beat New Zealand, and I mean but
yeah,
that
that
didn't
was
last
cool.
long. That didn't last long.
That thing. Credit to Piojo. I know Americanistas like to, are high and mighty on we lend the team for the national team to qualify. But it's New Zealand, man. Come on. I think Rey Midas, who was the coach, I think he would have gotten the job done. I mean, because they threw him with 2 games in, with a team that was dismantled. Not dismantled, but like it was like just the morale was on the ground and it's just all these things going on. But I think he would have gotten the job done, and it sucks how they removed him. And I mean, it worked well for Piojo, but I do think he kind of got robbed, man.
You know what I think
By,
about
not by Piojo though, but by the
yeah.
federation. Huh?
But this is what I think, man, and I just thought this. I think the federation sort of took the mic so to speak, away from Ray Midas, man. Ray Midas was wanting to give his speech, and he was wanting to take his team, and they just said, "Hey, step aside." And Ray Midas, you know what he did? He just let him. He just sat there and said, "Oh," and he sort of like crossed his hands and looked down to the ground and said, "Okay, sorry." So he was,
what could he done?
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying. So he
Um,
he didn't man up, man. He let them come in, and he didn't man up. Or I
yeah.
guess he complained a little bit to the press, but Piojo is the more strong, hard-headed
He's more
sort of
character,
personality.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Ray Midas needs to
Vucevic is
man up a
more of
little.
like a calm, cool, collected coach, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
there's
too
not much you
humble.
could have done there, though, man.
Yeah. But speaking of Vucevic, he's actually rumored to coach Cholos de Tijuana.
Yeah, I
It's,
thought it was a done deal, no?
it seems like, you know, for oh yeah, we got to go a step back. Querétaro was sold.
It was sold, and I last podcast I was talking about Grupo Caliente owning two teams. That was the second team they owned, and
Yeah.
they sold them.
So what's happening right now is all those players from Querétaro are starting to. They're basically going to be going to Cholos, including the coach. So Vucetic, you have Ariel Hernandez, Jordi Cortizo, Jaime Gomez, and even Marcel Ruiz. So it's basically they're just changing hands.
Hey, I got Albert Perez on the pod as well.
How's it going? Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey man, how's it
Double
going?
A.
I don't know if you
What's going on?
I don't know if you know Joel and Jaime, but we've talked before. But I,
I know Joel. We follow each other on Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not
Yes.
familiar with Jaime. What's up, Jaime?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for hopping on. How do
No,
you
no, no worries. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
how do you feel about the desmadre going on in Liga MX with the playoffs, the bracket, and the teams changing ownership?
Well, I mean, when you're talking when you're talking about playoffs, are you talking about the fact that they just decided not to play?
No, the fact that they're going from
Oh, the
eight
repechaje. Oh, okay, yeah.
repechaje to 12 teams.
Well, you know what? I mean, it kind of devalues the regular season. I don't know if you guys already touched on that, but I mean, they're in the business of making money, so you know, more teams in the playoffs, more cash going in. So at this point, I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised with all the kinds of moves that the Mexican soccer suits do. But I mean, personally, I don't like it, but you know, it is what it is. And
Yeah,
uh, and as far as the team changing, you know what? Again, it's just the modus operandi of Mexican soccer. I mean, you know, you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, they're copying the American business model." Well, you know, in the last years, I guess you know, I mean, they've done more club moves than the NBA or the NFL. I mean, you got to what was it? Chiapas became Querétaro, then San Luis became I don't know. It's just a whole lot of shenanigans going on. So it's just a modus operandi. I mean, personally, you know, being that my family is from Michoacan, Morelia was kind of my second team behind Chivas, and I know a lot of I mean, I know a lot of Michoacanos are either American or Chivas fans, but you know there were a lot of hardcore Morelia fans too. So it's kind of sad to see a team. I wouldn't say it's a big team, but it's a team with tradition, you know. So it's kind of sad, but I mean, but on the flip side, I mean the Mazatlan project looks pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar. But they kickstarted their social media page in Spanish, and it's the admin's kind of the admin's a huge troll, and it's pretty funny, pretty entertaining.
yeah, they're definitely playing the role as just like odiame más, you know.
Yeah, and that's very smart. I mean, because outside of America, who's you know the perennial hated team, I mean, you know they're the hated team right now, and And maybe that's gonna draw some eyes on him. So that's
It's a
that's pretty smart of them.
it's a rookie move though, man. In my opinion, the whole Mazatlan stick is it's a rookie wannabe Odiame Mas type of move. It's like the new kid on the block trying to be like the grande
It
trying
could
to.
be just for social media, though. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably
depends.
is.
It remains to be seen how they're gonna be with regular media, like on TV and with interviews. If they're gonna maintain that,
Well, I
or
mean,
if that's just
Paco Palencia is the head coach, and Chiquis was saying he's going to be the coach with the tightest pants.
Yeah, he's gonna spray paint his pants
Oh.
on. He's yeah. He's not an egomaniac though. He's not really like an egotistical type of guy. He's sort of like pretty much stays calm on the sideline. He's not like whenever if they score a goal, I doubt he's gonna go to the corner flag and like do his head banging celebration.
Yeah.
he's gonna pick up the corner flag, and you said it's a guitar.
Yeah. His air
What
Or he could just play air guitar.
his
I
air
will
guitar.
put my money on that he will have at least black nail polish on his on. That's a guarantee.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
maybe some purple one to go with the uniform.
Purple. Speaking about Morelia, they
Literally.
are actually making some rumbling, and it looks like they might absorb Albrijes de Oaxaca, and they started a new page called Atlético Morelia, so they may be back, and they'll just be
Well, it's headed. Isn't it headed by Higuera? So I think Higuera is in charge of the new Morelia team.
oh god.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Higuera that bounced out of Chivas. Is that the same Higuera we're talking about?
What downside? Hey, he's the dude that you could hate him, but he was involved in all those campeonatos, man. Everyone just hands him over to Mati, but he played his role, man.
Yeah,
I know he played.
No, you're right. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he did. Like, he was also with the downfall, but he was also with bringing in the Pizarros and all those guys out.
Yeah, but he was also involved in selling all those fools.
But they had to.
Yeah. Well, he said he was in charge of the rise and the downfall.
Yeah.
Easy come, easy go, man.
He was
Yeah,
like, what's the name of the general manager for the Chicago Bulls? Jerry.
Jerry. I know what you're talking about.
Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
The
He built a team and then he destroyed it.
The villain from Save the Last Dance.
Hey, but wasn't it the same with Promotora?
Yeah. Well,
They
with
do the Super Chivas team, and then
Yeah. And then,
So-
but you know what the thing with the Promotora was that when the club, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, the club did not want to sell with them. So the last tournament they started the 2001 the torneo de invierno, it was a pretty bad team. That's when they shorted up with Lupe Castañeda, with Chima Ruiz, and they started getting rid of all the guys. Except they were gonna get rid of Osvaldo, but they didn't at the end. But yeah, that was because, like I said, I think the club did not want to sell to them,
Well,
so they were just jumping. They were already, just.
No, well, you know what happened was that so the Promotora they were the Garza, and so they were in charge of Mexlub.
The
So-
Promotora Guadalajara, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the company that they had where they had the money. But this guy was doing a lot of tranzas, and he got he had all these lawsuits, and then I think he lost because Mexlub had a contract with Pemex
Perfect. Yeah.
to sell in all the gas stations the lubricant,
Yeah.
and so this dude, like, he owed all this money, and the books were all like crazy. So that was happening, and that was part of the reason. Like, he didn't even finish because they had 10-year contract. And that's when Vergara came in, because they were like, man, we just lost the money, man.
Yeah, because
This
the
dude's
Promotora.
not gonna.
Yeah. Well, the
But,
Promotora jumped in 94, 90, for the 94, 95 season. That's when they revamped the team. That they brought in all those guys. They brought in the Travieso Guzman, Coyote, Ramirez.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It was 94.
they
So
had all this money. They had all the
Yeah.
oil money, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
got caught up. They got caught up on all the,
On the
there's a lot of
tranzas.
crooked stuff going on there, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy
right.
because
Yeah.
I was digging into it, and
Okay.
so like with a year left, they sell the year because Vergara also pays him off so that he could
wow.
take over the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big thing that happened. And you know who else was involved with the whole Mex Loop thing?
Who?
It was Leaño from Tecos.
Oh, wow.
The,
Yeah. Oh,
the
wow.
Leaño. So I think a lot of people had, like, I guess money people from Guadalajara, they were involved with, and Promotor, I think they all had like their paws in that. And I think that's one of the big reasons that led to the whole, just sell the club, man.
Yeah, because like I said, that
That's what's going on.
That 2001 season, they were just they're already cutting their losses. They were getting rid of all the main guys, and like I told you, they shorted up with like a 40-something-year-old Hermosillo and Lupe Castañeda and all those guys.
Yeah, and Pelaez, who had a back problem.
Yeah, so
Wait, was Pelaez came? No.
Pelaez had already I think retired. Pelaez came in '98, and he didn't stick around much. Pelaez still played in that final versus Necaxa, I believe.
Oh man, yeah.
1998.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
We lost at home.
yeah.
We're going way back, but just to finish up on the whole Mex Lube, they're still around, except now it's just Akron. So the Suns, yeah.
Oh wow. I wasn't aware. Just that I wasn't aware of that they were still around. Oh yeah,
it's the Sun. It's the Sun, and so I guess that's one of the brands they kept. Yeah. So I think
that
Mex
logo,
Lube, because
the Akron logo doesn't look cool as the Mex Lube, the oily M.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, but wait, I'm gonna do this headway. Sorry there, Jaime. But see what was happening with the bad, with the company, with the whole funds and all that, mismanagement funds or just stealing. Kind of what happened in Cruz Azul right now. With the but Cruz Azul is the corporación or cooperativa, the cooperativa.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's going on right there, where Cruz Azul might. I don't know how they're gonna resolve this, but the cooperativa might not be in charge of the club, because they could be separate. You know what I mean? As far as it could be separate, and some other group might just take over. That way, the club doesn't have to disappear.
Yeah, it's still an ongoing investigation, so I haven't heard any news since we talked about it a couple weeks ago. But I mean, I think the headlines were always trying to get people like, oh, Cruz Azul is going to be disaffiliated, but we haven't heard anything yet. We'll see what happens with that. Still an ongoing investigation.
But going back to the Alebrijes de Oaxaca becoming Morelia, that's kind of sad because I remember the Alebrijes people, they had big plans. Obviously they were looking, they wanted to join the main league, and they were gonna build what I had heard the owner said that they were gonna build un estadio temático de ¿cómo se llama? De influencia indígena, algo así, and then for them to just disappear is kind of, for me, it's kind of sad because that project seemed kind of interesting.
Yeah, they actually had one of the best attendances in the second division too. So
you sort of like to see it, like with Chiapas as well. Like I used to love watching Chiapas and the little like flute, the constant the guy playing the flute during the whole game. That was like that brought flute? Yeah, the flute.
They had like Peruvian flutes. What are you talking about?
They had like some flutes that would always play and keep the
They imported that Peruvian band.
No, but it would just constantly go.
This guy's probably Peruvian. So
Yeah, it was part of the whole
Yeah.
the whole culture.
Dude,
The
I
whole,
don't remember seeing that. I need to,
yeah, go
need to
YouTube it
Google.
or something.
Not
YouTube it. Yeah.
But all these like
not
little
only
pueblo
that,
teams, these little
It's like
pueblo teams, these
flutes.
smaller clubs are like going away, man.
these
And we're
these
sort of
smaller clubs have
It's a flute.
they have
Jazz flute.
they have like culture and style. Like I'm looking at their jerseys for Oaxaca, bro. They have some sick ass designs, man. I mean, obviously,
It was a nice project they had going
yeah,
on down there.
but this is what happens. It's like little fish get seen by a bigger fish, and then it's just the circle of life in Liga MX. It's just teams being constantly bought out by bigger clubs. Mineros de Zacatecas got sold as well,
Oh wow.
but they're staying in Zacatecas. So, but yeah, it's just a constant thing over there in Mexico. So an interesting transfer that just happened is Talavera. He's going to be joining Xolos.
Wow.
And Jude is going to go to Toluca. So they're doing like a goalkeeper swap, which is pretty interesting.
Oh.
Man,
You know-
Talavera's at Toluca for a long time, huh?
Yeah, I mean he's been Chepo's man for a while.
Well, he's been there. Talavera's been in Toluca, I think, when I think the season after maybe I want to say 2009 when he couldn't when they realized he wasn't taking over the Chivas job that Mitchell wouldn't beat him out. So I think it's been over a decade if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate the way Chivas handled Talavera because I want to say
Well, they had too many keepers at that point.
when Osvaldo left to Santos, I think he was already loaned out to Toluca, and we decided to go with Michel and stuff.
Well, I
But-
think the thing was they gave Talavera a couple of starts, but he was he just wasn't ready to fill Osvaldo's shoes. And Michel, he didn't have to fill Osvaldo's shoes, and then Michel was also he was already in his late 20s, so he was a little more mature. So that's why all those things helped him out. But Talavera, he went with Toluca, without the pressure of having to fill in for Osvaldo, and he had quite a nice career. Unfortunately, he couldn't start in a World Cup. That's
He
Cristante
had just retired. Had he just retired?
around that time, yes, if I'm not mistaken, yes.
All right, great. And then Chivas had the young guy from the under 17. He was the starting
Arias?
goalkeeper.
Who,
They-
Arias? Yeah,
yeah.
Arias. And then Arias only lasted about 2 seasons, and then they kicked him down to a team I used to work with called Chivas USA, and he didn't do much. But
Oh,
yeah,
you worked? Did you work with them? What were you?
Go ahead.
No, because I covered them early on, like their first 3-4 seasons.
Yeah, maybe I ran into you. I used to do because my thing was I want to be a journalist, so the only internship they had available was PR, but they worked something out so that I could go intern in their game day staff. So I was there taking stats, calling the wire, the old school wires, calling them by phone and stuff like that, and then eventually I just stayed on the game day staff and was just I was around the team once in a while and on non-game days, but it was mostly game days.
All right. The only person I really talked to from the staff was just Keegan.
Keegan, yeah, el gringo que habla bien en español, yes. Keegan.
Yeah, really tall, ginger.
He even said bad words in Spanish. Vino toda la banda.
Yeah, that dude, and I used to like talking to that dude. He would sometimes give me scoops.
Yeah, he was a very but did you work? What medium do you work for? Did you work for?
At that point, I think I was doing goal.
Oh, okay. All right,
and I was doing LA Soccer News.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I did like three different ones.
Yeah, maybe if I see you in person, I recognize you. Yeah, because I was in and out of that press box.
Yeah, goddamn small world then.
Yeah.
Did you know Luis Bueno? You know that guy?
Yeah, Luis Bueno from he used to write for the paper
MLS.com and for what?
He used to write for when he would first go for the games. When I went there, he was writing for the Press Enterprise in Riverside, and then he became the beat writer for the. No, he was doing MLS, and then they passed him over for the Chivas USA job. They gave it to the guy that does the Galaxy right now, Adam Serrano. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because I used to work with him, and so a lot of the times I was just we would sit together a lot of times.
So sometimes that press box was pretty cavernous, no?
Did you? It is. It's really small. The right there at Carson. I don't know if it's still the same, but yeah, their press box is just really.
No, what they did
crowded.
They took out the one of the back rows because the inside of the press box they expanded it for the Chargers, so they took out one of the back rows.
Yeah, it was really. It's really.
Yeah, it was really
tight in the.
Yeah.
Oh snap! Great. Did you get to see like the training?
Yeah, once in a while, like I told you, I just went in. I was just going on game days. Like I was there, like when Blanco had his first game, or sometimes I were in the locker. I was able to see Jesse Marsh, who was having quite a career in Europe. I was everything related to game day.
I remember like so I was there. I think I went to pick up. I don't know where it was, but he was telling me how the Chivas, because they had Isaac Romo, and Isaac Romo was like this really tall striker, like 6'4".
One of the many Chivas rejects that they sent over him.
He was.
I don't think. Remember Hector Cuadros as well?
Yes, yeah. He took the number 10, man, and he did nothing with it.
He
devalued it, dude. He devalued it.
That guy, I'm kidding you. That guy could not. That guy couldn't score an open net goal to save his life. It was bad.
He disappeared, But just to finish this off, because it turned into a Chivas USA.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me how they were referring to Romo as slow-mo. For some reason, I just found it really funny.
You know what? And I could see why.
Slow-mo.
I'm sorry. Man. Yeah, I mean, you guys can go on a date after this. It's all good.
Don't be jealous,
I'm just teasing you. I do have some good news as far as player movements. It seems like Marseille is contacted Tigres and they're interested in getting Salcedo, so he might be returning to Europe, which is good news. And also Cesar Montes is basically going to be joining Valencia. It's almost official.
Oh wow, 2 defenders.
I'm surprised when Salcedo left Frankfurt. It seemed like he was in a good spot. I mean, I went in 2018. The Bundesliga invited me to cover the Super Cup. It was Bayern versus Frankfurt. And he was having. It seemed like he was having a good. His stay was pretty good. And then when I get back home, I found out that the team released him, and I was like, wow, that really took me aback because it seemed like he had a good place there, but it's and then with Tigres, he has had his ups and downs, but I mean he's kind of bounced back a little bit, and that move to France would be very good. Would be very good. It's a very good league for Mexican players. The style was.
It makes me wonder how much of an influence Gignac has been on that, happening. Because I'm sure Marseille are still keeping tabs on Gignac, and I'm sure Gignac is still, because he still supports them, and I'm sure he's saying, hey, I got some talent out here. You should probably check them out. I don't know. I'm just, assuming.
Undoubtedly, what happens. They know somebody. That's how the clubs work. The network. They know somebody, or the player, or Gignac himself. Hit up his old buddy. That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm sure they're keeping an eye on him, and they're like, hey man, you guys should look at this defender. He's good. He's played in the World Cup and all that. Salcedo, we all know that his personal life has been, it's been a mess. Like his family is like taking advantage of him and stuff, and I think that's what caused him to go back to Mexico was he needed to like control that situation, and obviously he was getting paid more. And
Wait, wasn't he in Italy, right?
he was he played for Florence, Fiorentina.
But when he was there, I think he said it himself that his wife had a miscarriage.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
And yeah, he talked about how he was just alone over there, and
yeah, it was a loan to
come
Frankfurt.
back with family.
Yeah, it was a loan to Frankfurt.
Oh,
after his loan to Fiorentina, and then Frankfurt ended up buying him because they liked him. But then I think he got injured or something, and he was sold back to Mexico. It was crazy because him and Fabian beat Bayern Munich in that domestic cup, and then Mueller said, "Just wait for the World Cup to start. We're gonna beat you guys," and then instant karma.
but then in the Super Cup, they got ran over. I think it was already 4-0 in the first half.
Hey, one thing on the Salcedo signing though is he still has a contract until 2022 with Tigres, so Marseille's gonna have to pay a little bit, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's
He's
worth it.
worth around 10 mil, maybe less, maybe more.
I recall quite a few gaffes towards the end of his in the most recent games with Tigres. He is a strong dude.
He had a huge blunder. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like in an important game too.
He was paid to like mess up that game because as soon as he came in, he just messed up that game, and Tigres lost to America because they were up 3-0, right?
Yeah, it was something huge. It was something I forget what it was all about. It was big. So I don't know like if I fully, and this is like his second go around, and if he doesn't pan out, then
I think he'll do fine. It's France, man. The French league is like, it's like I don't know. It's like a slightly step above the Portuguese league.
But it's a good style for the Mexican player. It's a more fluid game. And his age, well, I mean, he's barely 26, so he still has time. He has plenty of time to carve out a good second half of his career in Europe.
The few Mexican players that have played in France have had really good runs. I mean, look at Rafa Marquez with Monaco and Guillermo Ochoa.
With Gatusso, yeah.
Yeah. So more Mexicans to France instead of Italy, please.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Gatusso is just not a fit.
Yeah. This isn't typically like a topic about Mexican football, but the Champions League is going to return, and they're going to do an 8-team knockout stage in Lisbon. So they're going to do like a mini tournament to finish off the Champions League, and the final will take place on August 23rd. So how do you guys feel about that? It's just like a mini tournament to a tournament that's already supposed to be pretty small.
I'm fine. Like, okay, so they're just shortening it down.
Yeah, there's still a couple of teams that are still trying to qualify to the quarterfinals. There's a round of 16 games that weren't finished yet. So then after those are finished, 48 hours later, they're gonna kick off this 8-team knockout thing. And if I'm not mistaken, it's just a one-done game. It's not going to be 2 legs.
And it's just going to be a 12-day tournament, so they just want to get it over with real quickly.
I'm okay with that. The only thing is,
you could even argue that it's going to be even more impressive to win that tournament, don't you think?
At one game, yeah.
Yeah, one game. You're gonna have to put it all forth. The only thing I would have an issue with is I assume the higher seeded or higher ranked team is going to be the home team, or is it going to be at a neutral location?
Yeah, it's all in Lisbon.
Oh, it's all in. Okay.
just a neutral location for all the 8 teams. It's like, basically like a World Cup. And if I'm not mistaken, Atleti are still in it, so we do have a Mexican that is involved in the Champions League.
I say why not? I mean, why not? At this point, why not? I mean, if they can pull it off, all power to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
But we'll as is very common with this type of situations, will the title carry an asterisk?
No, I don't.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I asked that question. Is it more?
Oh, okay.
Is it more impressive to win this tournament, or is it, because I think it's more difficult to win the Champions League now with not being able to play with your fans. You don't have that luxury of having 180 minutes. I don't know if there'll be an asterisk.
But yeah. But at the end of the day, the fans are going to say, "Well, you didn't play a full tournament, so really, they're not going to really look into the difficulty of the matches. They're just going to look at the paper and say, it was it was a half-baked tournament."
I think Joel wants to know if they're going to give like a different trophy, like a weird-looking shaped trophy, or is it going to be the same orejona?
It seems like it's going to be the real thing, because they're also doing the Europa League. They're also going to do a mini tournament for that. So it looks like it's a full goal.
Yeah, the Europa League will be interesting because there's obviously a lot more teams involved. So that's going to be. I think they're going to do that one in Germany. We'll see.
Yeah, it should be. It should be good, man. Any Champions League is good, even if it's shortened and all that. I'm down.
At this point, it's we need to get back to some kind of normalcy. So I say go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need to wrap up this season already. I mean, Bayern Munich already won their league, and the Premier League returns this weekend, so we're going to finally see Raúl Jiménez back in action against West Ham United. That'll be exciting to see. But, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Liverpool are like a game or two away from clinching the league as well. So it's like a lot of these leagues just need to wrap up and just finish up, and then we'll have to figure out how the hell they're gonna do this for the next season, and also all like the World Cup qualifiers that are gonna
Oh, wow, yeah.
Then you got Copa America, you got the Euros. I mean, it's 2021 is gonna be a crazy year for football.
And you got the Olympics if they don't end up postponing
Yeah.
them again.
I mean, yeah, you got the Olympics as well. I mean, it's gonna be crazy.
And then you got the Nations League. I mean, I think they want to finish that. They still want to finish that. So.
Oh yeah. And for the Al Azteca is gonna have a facelift. I guess they're gonna renovate the stadium for 2026, which is like, didn't they just do a renovation? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. They added those canopies in the bottom, which kind of messed up with the aesthetics of the stadium. But yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. But I listening to Picante a couple times, Jose Ramon would just really rag on the stadium, saying that it was very antiquated, especially in the top. And my buddy from my buddy that from Mexico City, he's a journalist. He says that the press box is pretty bad. As far as like Wi-Fi, like it's non-existent. I don't know if one of you guys have covered a game there. He said that the Wi-Fi is pretty non-existent there, so they have a lot of stuff to really still fix.
Oh wow, I had no idea. I think this time they're gonna emphasize like it says they're gonna try and fix the press box, and I think like the locker rooms as well.
The troughs in the bathrooms.
I've actually haven't had the pleasure of I haven't gone to the Azteca yet. It's on my wish list, but I can imagine how, like, I'm sure the facilities are antiquated. But
it was built in the late '60s, so yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic stadiums in the world. I mean, what other stadium has hosted like two World Cup finals.
Well, if you want to count the Women's World Cup, you have the Rose Bowl, but that's if you want to count the Women's World Cup.
Yeah, the
I don't know
renovations.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
The renovations they did recently at the Azteca, I don't like that. It's a lot of space where there's like greenery and like garden areas near the pass behind the away from the pitch. It's just like I don't know what that's about, man. It's just like a waste of space to me. But yeah, hopefully they do some better modifications.
If I'm not mistaken, like all the remodeling that was to cater for the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the main gripes I heard is I heard about of the renovations is, like I said, those canopies in the bottom bowl of the stadium, which housed the luxury seating. A lot of people hate them because they say it obstructs the view from up top, and it's very, and when you look at it on TV, it's just very distracting, those canopies.
Yeah, I've seen some video of fans within those canopies, and you can't see like behind. You can't see the fans above you. The whole the whole stadium. It's sort of like you're covered there, and it's obstructing. It looks like to me. So I wouldn't like to be underneath that thing.
Yeah, it's I don't understand what was the reasoning behind that. I mean, there's other ways they could have gone around, providing luxury seating.
It'd be pretty iconic though, because it would be their third World Cup. The only venue to do that.
I mean, they're not going to get the final, so they'll probably be the the only stadium to host three inaugural games. That's pretty impressive.
Was
That's
there
messed
any
up, man.
stadium in Germany that hosted when they in 06 when they hosted again?
I'm not sure.
Thinking about that now, that's sort of messed up, man. Imagine a World Cup where Mexico hosts, and the final game isn't in the Azteca.
Yeah. And then not in the Azteca, but it ends up being in a stadium with no history, like Cowboy Stadium or Giant Stadium. I mean,
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be in Washington D.C. if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
What
Yeah.
Not even
because
the road.
of America,
They must have it. They got a new stadium over there, though, right?
Yeah, you know what? John Suckley from ESPN, he says that stadium, of all the NFL stadiums, because of the way it's built, like it's very vertical, that it's very similar to El Estadio Azteca. So I guess it has that going for it.
I totally forgot that Canada's gonna get some games too. Holy smokes!
Oh yeah.
And I think it's gonna be around the same amount of games that Mexico's getting. For sure, they're gonna have they're gonna have 6 matches with Canada's group, and then maybe four more in the knockout stages.
Yeah. The stadiums in United States, Los Angeles, the Rose Bowl. That's gonna be gnarly. Then you got the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Oh, and we have a new player in the game. We have the SoFi Stadium in England. Who maybe if they don't go to Washington, they end up going there because it's the NFL's shiny new toy.
Oh, Washington D.C. the FedEx Field, 82,000 capacity. I think that's where the final's gonna be. You got the Cowboy Stadium, Baltimore, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, and Atlanta. I think Atlanta Stadium is probably the most beautiful.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice on TV. The SoFi Stadium in England, it's not going to be that big. It's actually much smaller than the Coliseum and the Rose Bowl. It's barely going to be 70,000, but it's going to have all the shiny new whistles. Have you seen the videos on YouTube? They have that ocular screen that goes around the circumference of the stadium. It looks pretty cool.
I totally forgot that
about that stadium?
No, that this is gonna be a World Cup with 48 teams.
Oh, wow.
dear.
Hmm.
I forgot about that. It's too many teams, man.
Hey, it's like Oprah. Everybody gets a car.
Do you think that if we do have 48 teams, I mean, technically three teams out of the World Cup have to come from CONCACAF because they're hosts. So Canada, USA, and Mexico automatically get a ticket. Does that mean that they also get what, 4 more spots? How does that work?
Uh, well, let me see.
Maybe, I mean, I know they'll get like 3 more guaranteed, and then maybe, I mean, if there's going to be 48 teams, imagine seeing uh, Honduras or El Salvador or some of these Caribbean teams make the World Cup. That'd be crazy.
Guatemala, for the first time in their history. I mean, they were close in that for the 2006, but Mexico winning against Trinidad and Tobago, with their and just pretty much gave them the result and killed Guatemala's hope. I mean, that should be I think that would be a pretty nice story if I see Guatemala make it to a World Cup.
That'd be cool. A Cuba or Haiti, man, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, Guatemala, El Salvador, Haiti, El Salvador who hasn't gone since '82. That's but at the end of the day, it's 48 teams. Does it would it still be exciting? Because a good example I use is the last Euro. I mean, I bet you guys remember the Euros before that one. When you had the 16 teams, so you would have killer matches in the first round. You would have Germany versus Netherlands or Spain versus Netherlands. From the get go. But with the 24 teams, the group stage was kind of
diluted.
It wasn't that good, and then it didn't get good to the round of 8. So, and now with the World Cup, imagine it was pretty competitive with the 24 teams, and then they jumped to the 32 teams, and it kind of got diluted, and and now with the 48 teams,
well, they're doing three groups of 3, so I guess that's their hope of the excitement. And I think for the countries that are playing for the first time, it's going to be exciting no matter what. So we're about to have like India and China. I know they've been at the World Cup, but they've only been once.
Yeah, in 2020 with Bora, with Mr. Bora Minutilovic.
Yeah, Milu.
Milu.
No, that's what they call him.
Oh, Milu. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Mexican Bora, and in China he's Milu. Yeah, so we'll be seeing some weird teams, as you guys were saying.
We'll be seeing like Albania, Bahamas, Virgin Islands.
Barbados. But you know what? And this is like, because this is some stuff some pros were doing. They were joining teams in some of these like small like Caribbean islands. Like say you go to the Philippines and join their national team. Well, because you get some international exposure. So like say you went to the Virgin Islands or whatever, Islas Caicos or whatever, and you just managed your way into it, you would get to play a World Cup qualifying game against like Mexico, man.
Oh, wow. I was found interesting that Costa Rica would use naturalizados, but they would use naturalizados like from Nicaragua or like from Dominican Republic. I
thought it was like Argentine rejects or old Spaniards or something that didn't cut it. Yeah, surprised me they were using Nicaraguans, man.
You gotta attract what you can get, man. You can't be getting no Argentinian to play for Costa Rica. They got Mexico. They got Mexico in their sights.
It worked out because they made it to the quinto partido in 2014. So I guess they know what they're doing.
That was a series of fortunate events.
Did they have naturalizados in that team though?
I don't think
In
so.
that 2014 team, yeah, I think they had a player from Nicaragua
Oh,
and
oh, I think
Dominican Republic, if I'm not mistaken. I know for sure they had the Nicaraguan player, but
that's some good
the
scouting there.
yeah, the Dominican Republic player was probably in another World Cup. But yeah, they you know it must have worked out. I guess that they have a good eye for talent. Oh, that's my little niece.
Let's see. Trying to pull up their roster. I don't know.
If they had a naturalizado, I think it was like a lesser known player.
Let's see, Costa Rica, 2014.
That was their
We
strong.
haven't really had Mexicanos naturalizados in a long time. It's been I don't know if that's good or bad, but remember we went through that whole debacle like back in 06. Now it's not much of an issue.
Yeah, because I think
Because
back in the day
honest,
they got heat, they got pressure, and then like for any naturalizado to come back on the team, you're gonna get press on you. You're gonna get fans that are gonna be against it, and so as a player, man,
Wait,
it's
so I
not
don't think that with today's like climate, I don't think you're allowed to criticize that, man. Chiquis,
fans.
I don't
Fans will
think you could.
criticize even more
You
today
could be.
than before, man. Before there wasn't
Dude,
memes and stuff. Before there wasn't Twitters.
honestly, which naturalizado made a difference? I think outside of Senior, I mean,
Senior, that's it.
Caballero wasn't anything special. He was just Aguirre's guy. I mean,
What's his name?
Also,
Voso did have that one game, that one goal. He did have an important goal. Voso did.
who?
Voso.
Voso,
Voso.
when he
the
saved
one that,
against
the one that
Canada.
kept, yeah, he kept Mexico from getting bounced out in the group stage in the 2010 qualifiers. Yeah, but
Who?
Boso had that also that when they sent that makeshift team to the
Yeah,
2015 Copa America, and they did good against Chile. You know, they didn't get killed 7-0. It was like a
They
crazy
did better, yeah. They did better with that scrub team than Osorio with
game.
us.
So then Osorio's 18, yeah.
I mean, the last player that I remember that Mexico was trying to, get into the selección was Sambuesa, and that was because of Piojo.
Yeah,
But he,
Oh yeah, but his situation was screwed.
yeah.
I think he had already played for youth or something like
He
that.
played for Argentina, and I think in a 2003 under 20 qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
I think it was fine at the end of the day because Sambo just like I said, he wasn't different. He wasn't that much different than what was available with the guys born in Mexico. I mean, and when you're gonna get an naturalizado, it's because he meets something that you don't have. Like when Portugal got Pepe, I mean, they didn't have those type of the carnicero defenders. You know.
You know who I really wanted? Pony Ruiz.
Tony Reese, yeah.
With Chile,
Especially with Borghetti was on fire with the selección, and I was like, man, if we had Pony right there, that's him, at Santos, man, and a lot of times I swear I don't think Borghetti was even hitting the ball. He was just standing in the box, and Pony would just bank it off of his head, man.
It's
I
like
think it was
that scene at a Sandlot where he's like, "Hey, just stick your glove in the air, and I'll hit
I'll hit it to you. Pretty much just stand there.
it." Like, hey, just stick your glove in the air, man. I'll find you. If we were to talk about players that I wish were not through styles, for me, number one would be Cardoso, man. Holy shit, dude. Can you imagine Cardoso? That's
Oh,
insane.
yeah, but Cardoso was always, he was like a fixture with the selección. Pony just got called up once or twice, and then he was just largely ignored. I don't think he really played.
He played a couple Copas America. Pony played. I believe he played the '93 Copa America. He had a couple Copas
Oh
America.
man, that's way back.
Yeah. I remember seeing him in one of those.
1993 to 2001, he only had 7 appearances for Chile.
There you go. See,
What a waste.
But then in the midfield, I mean, who were you? I think, especially in the mid '90s, the main guy in the midfield was Estai.
Fabian.
Fabian, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a few players that it would have been nice, but yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go a little out on the name. You know who I would have liked just because he was crazy and it's in his name? Loco Abreu. Loco Abreu, I think would have been.
His son.
He's still playing, by the way. He is still playing.
He is still wow. His son plays in Mexico. His son is actually Mexican.
He actually got snubbed from the youth from the team.
17, yeah.
He is playing for Boston River, and that is in the Primera División de Uruguay.
Oh wow!
Oh, Boston River.
Yeah.
Boston River.
I remember I was surprised when I saw him that he won 3 seasons ago he won a championship in El Salvador. I was like, wow.
This guy, I mean, if you go on his Wikipedia page and look at the teams he's been on, oh my god, dude, he has been everywhere. Everywhere.
Street Fighter map. The little airplane just going from one place to
just
the
in
next.
Mexico alone, Tecos, Cruz Azul, America. He played for Monterrey, Sinaloa, San Luis. Damn.
And even teams we haven't heard of, man. Probably played Cascaritas or something.
Do you think if unfortunately he didn't die, Antonio de Nigris would have had that type of career where he ended up in like El Salvador or stuff like that?
Antonio Nigris, wasn't he in Europe when he passed away? He's in Turkey, right?
Yeah, he was in Turkey. Yeah, but he and then previous to that, he had been in Brazil. He had been in Colombia. He had been
Greece
in
too, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was already in his early 30s, so he still had.
Yeah, you're right. He was all over the place. Villarreal.
He would have been in the new Liga MX league.
He played for Once Caldas. What the hell?
He played a Clubs World Cup with them.
Damn.
Yeah, he played that. With Once Caldas, he played in that intercontinental game against.
That's what it was. Yeah, before Clubs World Cup.
Porto. Yeah. And then he played in 2 teams in Turkey, and his last team was like you said.
Larissa.
Yeah.
Greece.
So he was barely 31, so he still had a couple leagues in him.
Yeah. Damn. Abreu just didn't MLS, huh? He missed out over here. That would have probably cut. You know, he would have had enough money.
Oh, he stayed.
Abreu could probably still hang in MLS.
He stayed true to his roots, man. He didn't go to no MLS. He probably would have. He probably would have.
Because if he would have done that, he wouldn't have to be. Mopping the floor, man. Come on.
He's 43 years old.
He loves playing, but after a while, dude.
He's 43 years old, man.
Hey, did you guys see the it was this like wrestling documentary, Behind the Mat or something like that, and it starts with Jake the Snakes, huh?
Oh no! It was.
It's a wrestling documentary, and they show
Beyond the Mat. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and it has Jake the Snake, Robert, and you see him, and he's gonna wrestle in some like, I don't know what it is, man.
A high school gym.
It's a high school gym. No, but this place, like, I think he's peeing on like a bucket because it doesn't have a bathroom.
They're like at a hall. It's either a hall or a high school gym. And yeah, he's in the corner and he's peeing in a bucket.
And they show like when he used to fight like in Madison Square Garden, like all these fans, and now he's wrestling for a couple yokels, man. There's like 10 people in the crowd.
Damn.
So that's kind of a battle, man. Come on, those don't want to be doing that.
That's like Bofo, man. Wasn't Bofo and Omar Bravo? They're like playing in. They're playing like indoor leagues in the United States, dude.
Indoor soccer.
They're playing indoor soccer in Chuck, man. That's some like.
You just go to point and laugh. You don't even go anymore to. You don't even go to watch him just to go talk shit. Fucking suck, dude. just paying money to go abuse the poor guy. That's mean though, man. See, he could have came here got his fat check, retired, would have been in Uruguay with his
No, dude.
Hey man, he's still scoring.
whatever shop.
It would
He's
have been
still scoring
humiliating.
goals, though.
That would have been
He's still scoring
humiliating.
goals.
Yeah, he scored a goal, dude.
Yeah.
He scored
Fuck,
2
he
goals.
has-
Dude, he has to pay bills, man.
Imagine
He has like 10
42.
kids.
Imagine being scored on a 43-year-old.
If he has
Man.
kids, like he has clubs, dude, he's gonna be.
No, he's gotta have his dignity, man. He can't be losing his
Oh,
dignity like that.
check this out. He's a player coach.
Oh wow.
That's actually pretty cool. He's like Ryan Giggs when he was the coach, and they're at a press conference. He's like, yeah, I might just give myself the start next week because he was still playing for the team, but he was also the coach.
Talking about guys that chose to come to MLS, can you guys name the player that chose Galaxy over Cruz Azul? This happened around 2007.
Jorge Campos?
No, Pavon
Oh,
Plumer. Pavon Plumer from Honduras. Cruz Azul wanted him, but then I guess Galaxy was building up the team after Beckham came. So he straight out said that he wanted to play with Beckham. So he ditched Cruz Azul and he just came to LA.
That's like Carlos Vela, man. He just want to go watch LeBron James.
You
It's
wanna
pretty much the same
You
thing.
want to see LeBron James?
Hey man, he's dunking on life.
He's drinking a
Hey,
life.
man.
He's
He's got
dunking.
his
He's
Fisher
dunking.
Price basketball hoop in his
Hey,
backyard.
He's dunking on TikTok, man.
First pitch. Hey, look, first pitch at Dodger Stadium. Gets to sit behind J-Lo,
Oh wow.
right? Every time she got up to go to the bathroom, he's right there. He has that view, man.
That's so shallow. That's so shallow, dude. That's so shallow.
Nah, dude. Come on.
That's so shallow.
Everything you wanted, he has it now, Cheeky.
That's shallow. That's so shallow, dude.
Chicharito didn't do too bad. He got courtside seats for the Kobe Bryant.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
He was,
so,
yeah.
He was
Yeah,
eating
that was-
popcorn. It seemed like he was at the movies, huh?
Hey, dude, when he grows old, and you look back at your legacy, and you say, look, man, I was able to sit next to J-Lo, or I was able to go to a Laker game, or I was able to
Right
meet.
behind her, dude,
I was able to touch LeBron's jersey. I was able to do all these things, but I never did anything for the national team that brought pride and dignity to me as a football player in his own right. That's gonna be a sad day when when he matures
I
and
don't
grows
think
old.
he's gonna think a second twice about that, bro. I think Vela doesn't lose
Dude,
sleep over that. to be
material things wear away, and they go away, and they don't mean anything once you.
Carlos
get
Vela will
respect.
be telling his kids and his grandkids, I got to go to the courtside tickets for the Lakers.
They're
Like, he
gonna
does not give a fuck about, playing the World Cup for Mexico. He
Not
does
now.
not give a shit.
not now he
Yeah,
doesn't.
Which he did play in one.
Not now.
He's not gonna be like, hey, I had the chance to go to Barcelona, but then I decided to go to LAFC instead.
That's some embarrassing stuff. You can see the consequences already from Chicharito when he tries to say he's a legend, and he just gets slammed on. He gets slammed on
it's
for even
cringeworthy,
bringing
man.
that stuff up, man. Carlos
Even-
Vela.
Even Mr. Hugo Sanchez bagged on him for that. He says that stuff that you just don't say. I mean, for Hugo Sanchez to say that, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
And
he is. He is, though. Or you just can't say it. But
It's
he's
laughable
all-time,
though.
he's all-time goal scorer.
It's laughable though when you
easier
say
said than done,
you
man.
say it at a moment when you're going to like a lesser league, and it's
I just think that the timing of him saying it was
Yeah.
just not the right time. I think he can still win the fans over, but I think right now it's like the fact that he returned to North America with his tail between his legs, and then him trying to compensate by saying all his accomplishments. I think it just wasn't the right time. I think he should have just been more honest.
yeah.
And I
Vela
think
has more
maybe-
sense. Vela has more sense to keep his mouth shut, so that's one thing he's
Yeah.
got going for him.
Or,
And
they
then-
don't
you
care
know-
about.
But it's his life coach, man. It's his his life coach, bro.
You know what? I saw him with this because one of the things I'm doing right now, I cover NHL games in Spanish. I was at the Kings game when he went out to do the puck drop, and he was there with that life coach, and they were pretty chummy. I mean, they were hugging each other,
Oh
playing
yeah, they're
around.
butt buddies, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that second kid is that dude's. He's the dad. it's not even Chicharito's kid, bro. So
Wow.
You know, Sarah was like, I'm not going to the United States if you don't bring your life.
Hey man, we should fund a trip to one of Dreyfus's seminars in Cancun, dude.
Oh my god,
and pull a troll job on him or something.
dude, I would so do that. I would go and troll him so hard.
Oh jeez.
Well, obviously, we're running out of content to talk about just because again, all these leagues are returning except for Liga MX. We still got another month ahead of us until we see some action here.
Oh yeah.
But it'll fly by, and then it's like Mexican soccer always proves, they'll always give us something to talk about.
Yeah. Hopefully, it will be for the on the field actions for our players abroad this weekend. Again, I'm very excited to see Raul Jimenez return because he was on fire. He's had one of the best seasons that I've ever seen from like a player abroad. I don't even know if Chicharito had this great of a first season that Raul was having with Wolves. So I'm very excited to see how he finishes up the season and see if he gets picked up by a bigger club because that seems to be the rumors at this point.
What big clubs do you think suit him best?
Manchester United. I think he would be a great fit there. They need a striker, and I think that he would be a good fit.
Yeah.
And the fans gave a lot of love to Chicharito. They still miss him, and they know that if there was another Mexican to join their club, they would definitely like have a huge fan base that they were familiar with. I think they would be a good team. There's a lot of Chelsea's been linked with them, Arsenal, Juventus. Like, it's crazy. He's having a great season, and he has a really really good agent. It's the same agent Cristiano Ronaldo has. So, I'm happy where he is now. Like, if they can keep the team together and not sell the players, I would love for him to just become like a club legend at Wolves because they're competing for a Europa League spot right now. But if they start to sell the players, then yeah, I do hope that he stays in the Premier League and he just goes to a bigger club.
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, he's really. I mean, in his late 20, he has really come on, and Mexico could, providing they qualify, could really use somebody like that in Qatar.
Yeah. For me, there's no doubt about it. He'll be the main striker because unfortunately, Mexico doesn't have too many right now. So he's one of the few that we do have.
I mean,
I'm actually kind of concerned that Chicharito will make another appearance. I mean, we'll see what happens to JJ Macias.
Yeah. Do you see him coming on and becoming a staple of the team?
We'll see. He had a really bad. Was it a World Cup? I think it was a World Cup.
Yeah. The what is it, under 20 or something?
Yeah, it was. He didn't have a really good World Cup, and I think he's still a little bit too green. I don't know if he's ready for la selección yet, but we'll see. I mean, there's no doubt about it that he's incredibly talented, but it's a matter of consistency. You got to be scoring every week, and then you can talk about the idea of him getting bumped up to the senior side. But as of right now, I would probably still lean on our other options, which again we really don't have that many.
No, it's the fleet is not that big, but so I guess we're gonna have to go all in on Jimenez.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it, boys. Chickies, you got anything to say, Joel?
No man, it's fun time, enjoyable laughs going on. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, guys. Hopefully you guys will have me sometime soon. Have me back.
Yeah, Aldo, thank you for hopping on, man. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. Thanks everybody again.
Awesome. Well, listeners, thank you guys for listening to us, supporting us. I didn't check the YouTube comments. I don't know if anybody was there
Yeah,
anybody on the live chat.
yeah, we had Luis, Randy Torres. Let's see. Yeah, just those two.
Oh, okay. Did they say anything?
Yeah, they were chatting a little bit. Joel was chatting with them, taking a knee for Chucky. Gatusso's hating on him.
Oh.
Chicharito's a joke. Other comments just like that. So yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
bit going on in chat.
Oh, wow, yeah. There was a party going on there.
All right. Well, again, thanks for everybody hopping on tonight. We'll be back next week with some inevitable chisme that goes on in Mexico. And I hope everybody has a great night.